Durag Wisdom here, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Earth Date Y2K 19.12.09. What I'm about to tell you folks is these are conspiracy theories right now. I'm calling them conspiracy theories. And since this is the holiday season, you know, Christmas and all that stuff, a gift sock, you hang over there, the fireplace. A gift sock of conspiracy theories. I base my conspiracy theories on what I've seen and read over the past 3 years. And in the background, the music of one of my favorite composers, Bernard Herrmann. This is a re-recording of one of my favorite scores of his, Fahrenheit 451. Conspiracy! Donald Trump is working for our enemies to undermine our constitutional rule of law in a free democratic republic. It's been obvious for me from day one. He loves these dictators, undermining NATO, our allies, doing everything Putin wants. Donald Trump is a thief, a liar, a racist, a thug, and incompetent. He's also an anti-Semite. I don't care how much he's trying to court my tribe, calling us, he says, Jews that don't support me are going against Israel, like we're traitors against Israel. Well, I live in this country. I'm a Jew who lives in the United States of America. And as long as I live here, this country comes first. You know, the anti-Semite Trump assumes that the Jews have dual loyalties. Donald Trump tried to influence the Y2K20 election by forcing the Ukrainians to investigate the Bidens. I'd like you to do us a favor, though. Courtesy of Steve Colbert. Donald Trump has obstructed justice. He has obstructed Congress, defying their equal powers. Imagine this pernicious creep, this scum, this lowlife is going to be the one to topple our young 240-year democratic republic on its way to democracy. Remember, Rome only lasted 500 years. Donald Trump is sowing discord and encouraging violence. Likes to have those police slam suspects' heads into the top of the door of the police car. Boom! And as Bill Maher says, and I agree with this particular statement, when Trump loses in 329 days from now, he won't leave. Donald Trump refers to Barron, his youngest son, by Melania as the First Lady's son. Not as his son. Not as my son Barron. Donald Trump denies his parentage. And this scum wants to head our country? This lowlife, sucking scum of the earth? The fall of our way of life and the slide into totalitarianism is quite obvious to me. Religious extremists, social conservatives, not fiscal conservatives like William Weld is. He may be conservative in his religious ways, but he keeps that to himself. He doesn't take his social conservatism and injects it into the politics, into our nation, into our government to try to push his beliefs on the rest of us. Remember William Weld running against Trump on the Republican ticket. Religious extremist social conservatives are trying to usurp power to rule over all of us. Religious extremists are trying to destroy our right to vote with the help of Trump and his party and the Supreme Court, which has basically crippled the Voting Rights Act, which everything about the Voting Rights Act has to be restored. And of course, Citizens United must be abolished. Religious extremists have taken over our lower federal courts, thanks to Trump, and have taken over our highest court in our land, rendering it useless in ascertaining what is just and what is not. Here's another conspiracy theory for your sock. We have already legitimized the criminal President Trump by defining deviancy down. Remember what Patrick Moynihan said about defining deviancy down. Look it up. There should be no question that every single candidate running against the criminal Trump are far more qualified. Even Andrew Yang. Even on the captured GOP side, one candidate against Trump stands out, William Weld, a classic conservative GOP candidate. Yet we insist on allowing a thug, a traitor, a liar, a thief, a racist to legitimately run against these patriots? The Democratic ones? The Republican one? We keep hearing the absurd statement, which one can beat Trump? Which one of these candidates can beat Trump? In a sane world, ladies and gentlemen, in a real world, in a world where we don't define deviancy down, Trump wouldn't even be allowed to run. He's a criminal. Who can beat Trump? In the real world, all of the people running against Trump can beat him because he wouldn't even be running. On the other hand, if William Weld was running on the Republican side, we'd have a contest then. The Democratic Party, meanwhile, is being attacked by corporations and their moderate clown supporters. Moderate to me means corporate, means center of the road, slightly to the right. Nowhere is this most illustrated than in the sudden announced candidacy of Mike Bloomberg. More about him and my experiences with him as a New York City teacher another time. Bloomberg got into it because, here's my conspiracy theory for your sock, he is secretly working with Trump to further dilute the Democratic Party, turning it into something that stands for nothing. In our two-party constitutional republic, we need two strong opposing parties. One conservative, the other liberal. Not one extremist and the other tepid. The Trumpist party uses doublethink, the revision of history and political language propaganda like in 1984 Newspeak to confuse and to gaslight us. The Trumpist party not only wants to bring down our government and hand it over to Putin, they also want to dumb us down more than some of us already are. Listen carefully to the Trumpists when they talk. These Trumpist creeps in the impeachment hearings. I'm watching that now, taking a break to get this out to you. They believe that we out here are all stupid rubes. Reality TV, constant commercial advertising, the daily humiliating grind of our workday has succeeded in wearing us down to tired, torn, wet rags. Schmatas. The reason that we all have to work on election day is partly because, and here's another good conspiracy theory, those in power, especially the Trumpists and the teabaggers before them, know that if everyone had the time to vote, we would mostly vote liberal and progressive, but not extremists, and I hate to say moderate. In a country where our liberty and freedom are vital, our election day, the holiest day of our calendar, should be a national holiday. And let's have a final word on hypocrisy, some conspiracy theories. Last year, the Merry Christmas president celebrated the holiday by firing Andrew McCabe before he could collect his pension. At the same time, the savior-in-chief shut down the government over his racist border wall and the like. This year, great that we have a so-called Christian supporting president in office now. I'd like to bring Jesus back, and he would be throwing up right now seeing what's going on. This year, Mr. Fezzy Trump, he went out to ring in Christmas by denying thousands their food stamps. Anyone with a bit of memory and an understanding of 1984 and its Orwellian techniques would know that if there was a Democratic president in office right now and he or she did the same things this Nazi creep, traitor, racist birther Trump is doing, there would be screaming that would reach the gates of hell. Hell! And the mouths of the Trumpists would be filled with outrage, with lying garbage from the toilet bowl mouths of the Jim Jordans, the Devin Nuneses, the Louis Gohmerts, the Matt Gaetz, the Bill Barrs, the Milk Mulvaneys, and from the Brett Kavanaughs, among others. It would be spewing. Get them out! Impeach! 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 Finally, if Trump is freed by the Senate and continues to try to disrupt our democratic election and destroy our security, everything our country is for Putin, because that's what the Senate's going to do, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I'm wrong. They are going to exonerate him and make a show out of it. So he's going to come back once again, as any bully would, and take advantage of the full situation because he's a sociopath and a fiend. And Trump is going to try to disrupt our 2020 elections and beyond. Imagine the Trump family in our lives for the rest of our lives. If he loses and refuses to leave office, how is the hot civil war going to be waged in our country? Street to street, house to house? Are we going to meet in some park someplace and have a war thing for that day and the person who wins gets points? I don't know. Will it be televised? Will the war be televised? Will there be drive-by killings all over everybody's neighborhoods and streets? Go to the liberal enclaves, the conservative enclaves, blood and guts all over the streets of our country in the 21st century. How long do you think Vladimir the Creep Putin will have a laugh over all of this?